Governor Keredolu restates stance for state police as Nigeria witnesses another daring jailbreak. Ondo House of Assembly Screening Committee decides fate of commissioner nominees. Federal government overhauls 5 electricity distribution companies for quality service delivery. And from the foreign scene, Finland and Sweden close to sealing pact with NATO. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the news at 7. I am Obi Chukwemeka Uti. The federal government has confirmed that about 600 inmates escaped from the Kuje Correctional Center following yesterday's attack by suspected terrorists. During a visit to the facility, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Shuaibu Belgore, explained that over 300 other inmates have been retrieved and more are on the way. He added that the facility houses 994 inmates and that the attackers, which he suspects are Boko Haram terrorists, attacked the facility to rescue their co-conspirators. He also added that 1 person died and 3 others were injured during the attack. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has visited the facility for an on-the-spot assessment of damage done. Keredolu has reinforced his clamor for state police as a key to tackling the security meltdown confronting the nation. The governor spoke when he received the 1968 to 1972 set of the Loyola College, Ibadan, Oyo State in Akure, said the current single command of police structure can no longer cope with the worsening security siege. Keredolu, who is also a member of the set, described our bloody attack as a sad commentary on the nation's security architecture, which cannot be forgotten in a hurry. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole reports.
Led by its president, Dr. Segun Oshin, and represented by his vice, Mr. Ayodele Adigun, the 1968 to 1972 set of Loyola College, Ibadan, was at the governor's office in Akure to condole with the government and the people of Ondo State over the unfortunate terror attack, which claimed about 40 lives and left several others injured. Dr. Oshin, who expressed shock over the attack, appealed to the governor to remain resolute in his determination to secure the state and the southwest region.
We gradually go to Family State Police, and yet our people are not from other parts of the country. Thank God they are beginning to see this in what you have championed, what you know that the popular of championing discourse. We need it. We need to end all this lawlessness in this country that will make any progress. They talk about urbanization. They talk about the south. But you see, the problem we have in Nigeria is that we must take out this evil that is destabilizing Nigeria before we can make any progress.
According to him, the impact of the Amotekun Corps in reading the zone of crimes is huge. Governor Keredolu, who described the incident as unfortunate, said the perpetrators will not escape justice as security agencies were making headway in their investigation.
Won't we be more committed to protecting ourselves?
Yes.
Let's have state police. But have state police, you will find a way we will be advised to recruit more people in the private local government to work in that local government.
Yes.
Because you have a stake. We must be prepared. Anything can happen now.
Yes.
This one is so daring. They are daring. We have gone beyond Fulani herdsmen now. You have terrorists at the very level, and as they have claimed, the swap is there. So that is when the three of them are combined, they work together or work in silo, they are dangerous. So I have to show them. So whatever I thank God for joining mercies. And those who are going to go back, I pray God to grant you joining mercies.
The governor appreciated the group for the visit and promised to improve on efforts at securing the state and its people. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has sworn in 7 new ministers recently screened and confirmed by the Senate. The swearing in at the Federal Executive Council was done in 2 batches of 4 and 3 each. Prince Ademola Adegoroye of Ondo State, who was among the first set to be sworn in today, has been assigned Minister of State for Transportation. Henry Ikechukwu took over as Minister of State for Science and Technology, while Joseph Nkama was named Minister of State for Health. Others sworn in are Umana, Minister of Niger Delta, Omar El Yakub, Minister of State for Works, Goodluck Opia, Minister of State for Education, and Odomodi, Minister of State for Environment. Meanwhile, Governor Akeredolu has congratulated Prince Ademola Adegoroye over his nomination, confirmation, and swearing in as Minister of State for Transportation. In a statement by Richard Olatunde, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Akeredolu charged the new minister to exploit the opportunity of his new office to assist Ondo State in its quest for development, particularly the establishment of Port Ondo. According to him, Adegoroye will add value to the government of Buhari and impact positively on the people of Ondo State as a minister. The governor thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for appointing Prince Ademola Adegoroye, noting the dire need of a port in Ondo State. The All Progressives Congress in Ondo State has inaugurated a reconciliation committee to look into the post-primaries issues of the party. Chairman of the party, Ade Adetimayin, said the committee is expected to address every issue relating to the recently concluded primaries before the constitution of the campaign committee for 2023 general elections. Adetimayin urged members of the committee to draw from their wealth of experience to pacify all aggrieved aspirants and address every agitation on merit and without bias. He also appealed to aggrieved aspirants to put the party ahead of personal interest. The committee has 5 weeks to round off its task. You're watching the news at 7. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. As the 2022 farming season begins, the Ondo State government has flagged off the distribution of 2 million cocoa seedlings and other farm inputs to farmers. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who performed the ceremony at Ilaramokin in the federal local government area, assured that his administration will continue to partner agro and allied investors towards boosting food sufficiency. Represented by the Deputy Governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, the governor, who stressed the essence of the ceremony, urged farmers to always embrace every opportunity of involving their skills in modern method of agricultural practices. While reiterating his administration's commitment to rural and access roads rehabilitation, Governor Akeredolu said government must always strive at creating an enabling environment for farmers to thrive. And as part of measures to make agriculture more attractive, Governor Akeredolu promised more financial support to associations in the sector. The Commissioner for Agriculture and Forestry, Olayatu Aribo, earlier lauded the state government for initiating programs geared towards making farmers in the state the best in agricultural sector. Wife of Ondo State Governor Betty Anyanwu-Akeredolu has reaffirmed her support for women prosperity and development of society. Mrs. Anyanwu-Akeredolu, while playing host to members of the Female Drivers Association of Nigeria, FIDAN, in her office in Akure, said challenges of Nigerian women can only be properly addressed if they are well represented in government. Omorola Ugbenji has details.
The wife of Ondo State Governor Betty Anyanwu-Akeredolu has been Nigeria's frontline gender parity campaigner, and her goal is to see women and the girl child at the forefront of achievements in the country. While addressing members of the Female Drivers Association of Nigeria, FEDAN, in her office, Mrs. Betty Anyanwu-Akeredolu said women must break the barriers of poverty and end gender-based violence. According to her, this can only be achieved when women are represented at the decision-making table. She encouraged women to support each other by promoting mutual interests.
Women supporting women, making sure women are in a position of authority where they can bring about change. When they put up something, you say, no, this is not going to benefit me, and it's not going to benefit your wife or your daughters.
Mrs. Anyanwu-Akeredolu also advocated support for female drivers through the provision of necessary work tools.
All what we are looking at to make sure that our women have a source of income that they would use to look after their families and also support their husbands for those who have husbands. Together, it's a win-win situation for all of us. But just count my support very, very much. But we must engage these people. We must have a conversation, call it workshop or whatever, invite all their leaders, for all the local government, those who drive cars, those who drive keke.
The state coordinator of FEDAN, Mrs. Yinka Odedili, said the challenges of the association include lack of recognition by their male counterparts, exorbitant purchase price of keke napep, and threat to life, among others. She noted that the association, which was driven by passion, has as members female commercial drivers and women in transportation business, and also working in the area of human capacity development among women and youths in Nigeria.
We have been able to put up a show on the role of drivers on prevention of trafficking in persons and ending violence. The seminar was planned to help call to mind the key role drivers can play in preventing trafficking in persons and kidnapping in the state. We are ready at all times to work for the emancipation to ensure safety on our roads, as female drivers are known to kill the speed and save life.
Also present at the Kosi visit were the special advisor to Governor Akeredolu on gender, Mrs. Olamide Falano, and the state's president of the National Council of Women's Society, Mrs. Jumoke Aborodi. They also emphasized the need for lawmakers and well-meaning Nigerians to include women in matters of national importance. Osrc News.
We now return to the story on Ondo State government distribution of cocoa seedlings to farmers. As the 2022 farming season begins, the Ondo State government has flagged off the distribution of 2 million cocoa seedlings and other farm inputs to farmers. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who performed the ceremony at Ilaramokin in the federal local government area, assured that his administration will continue to partner agro and allied investors towards boosting food sufficiency. Represented by the Deputy Governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, the governor, who stressed the essence of the ceremony, urged farmers to always embrace every opportunity of involving their skills in modern method of agricultural practices. While reiterating his administration's commitment to rural and access road rehabilitation, Governor Akeredolu said government must always strive at creating an enabling environment for farmers to thrive.
Cocoa, fishery, covering so many areas of farming. These are very important. Education is important because nothing is static in this world. And Tanjalo. There will be great harvest this year. We have some chemicals here for pest control in our various farms. Another sprayer for spraying the insecticide so that proper growth will take place in our farms.
As part of measures to make agriculture more attractive, Governor Akeredolu promised more financial support to associations in the sector. The Commissioner for Agriculture and Forestry, Olayoto Aribo, earlier lauded the state government for initiating programs geared towards making farmers in the state the best in agricultural sector. The Ondo State House of Assembly has ratified the appointment of 2 commissioner nominees sent to it by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. This is sequel to the submission of report by his selection committee during plenary. In the wake of recent economic and security challenges in Nigeria, Christian faithful have been charged to be spiritually alive to the commandments of God in order to find solace. The charge was given at the monthly fasting and prayer program of the Ondo State Christian Welfare Board held in Akure. Joy Pius now completes the story.
It was another avenue for Christians from various denominations in Akure, the Ondo State capital, to gather for the monthly fasting and prayer program at Ondo State Christian Welfare Board in Akure. In a sermon titled, "Except a Man is Born Again," the chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria, Ondo State Chapter, Reverend Father Anselm Ologunwa, called on believers to strive towards renewing the Spirit of God within them.
Are we deserving a reward or punishment? Heaven or hell? When someone does a crime, the law says that they must be punished. Is that not so? We want the criminals to be punished. We always, the criminals must be brought to justice. Well, what about if the criminal is you? And the Lord is ready to watch us clean, if we repent and go back to Him. Our nation must go back to God. We have sinned against the only God of the universe and we deserve His wrath. A good judge will sentence a criminal and an evil judge will not.
The chairman, Ondo State Christian Welfare Board, Very Reverend Raphael Agbola, craved holiness as a step to aid the efficacy of prayers for Nigeria.
Be ye holy, as your heavenly Father is also holy. So that is what God demands from us, to live a life without sin. A life without sin, that when you ask anything from God, God will be delighted to listen to you. And it is important for all Christians that want God to listen to them, to live a holy life.
Participants at the event said it was time Christians set their own right in order to bring positive turnaround in Ondo State and the country at large.
Change must start from me. I need a change in my attitude. I need a change in my behavior, because if I change, then the nation will change. So I must go back and have a soul search. Am I really born again?
A special prayer session was held for Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, the state and the country.
We'll now take the story on Ondo State House of Assembly having ratified the appointment of 2 commissioner nominees sent to it by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. This is sequel to the submission of the report by its selection committee during plenary. House of Assembly correspondent Omoshiliola Adesu Ajayi now reports.
The scoring chart reflected that the commissioner's nominees, 1. Provided excellent answers to all questions put across to them. 2. Possessed the required experience, charisma, and much needed exposure to functions effectively as state commissioners respectively.
The report should be submitted and considered by this honorable that supports the aye. Against the yes.
In the meantime, the Ondo State House of Assembly has passed the amendment bill for the establishment of the Ondo State Agricultural Input Supply Agency 2022 into law. This is equal to the submission of report by the Chairman, House Committee on Agriculture, Mr. Taufik Mohammed. House of Assembly correspondent Omoshilola Desoyajayi again reports.
House Committee on Agriculture, Mr. Taufik Mohammed, presided plenary which was presided over by the Speaker, Mr. Bamidele Oleyelogun. Mr. Mohammed explained that the amendment bill for the establishment of the Ondo State Agricultural Input Supply Agency 2022 would address grey areas in the principal law and assist the agency in conforming with modern principles, as well as boost the agency's collaboration with research institutes within and outside the country. The majority leader, Oluwole Ogunmolashuyi, then moved the motion for the bill to be passed into law and was seconded by the lawmaker representing Akoko South West Constituency 1, Olugbenga Omoli.
Let me use this opportunity to appreciate the entire committee that has been working tirelessly on this particular bill for several weeks. On behalf of the Honorable House, we appreciate you for the good job that you have done so far. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion that a bill to amend the establishment of Ondo State Agricultural Input Supply Agency Law 2022 to third reading and pass into law.
I rise today to second the motion that a bill to amend the establishment of Ondo State Agricultural Input Supply Agency Law 2022 should be passed to third reading and passed as a law. I so second.
The Speaker, Mr. Bamidele Oleyelogun, who ruled for the amendment bill to become law following the unanimous decision by the lawmakers, said when assented to, the new law will boost the state's food sufficiency drive.
Amend the establishment of Ondo State Agricultural Input Supply Agency Law 2022 with authority at the same time pass into law. Those are the was the aye.
Also, the bills for a law to provide for the establishment of the Ondo State Security Trust Fund and other matters 2022, as well as the Ondo State Education Endowment Fund Amendment Law 2022, were committed to respective committees on security and education for proper assessment after scaling second readings. Meanwhile, Omoshiliola Adesoyajayi, OSRC News.
Moving now to the foreign scene, Finland and Sweden have begun the process of joining NATO. The next stage is due to be completed in Brussels later on Tuesday with the signing of the Accession Protocol. But if they do join, the contributions they offer will be very different, with Sweden still trying to recover from its recent policy of demilitarization. Abigail Oyeyemi reports.
Swedish soldiers and veterans pay their respects to comrades lost in international operations. 200 years after Sweden was last officially at war, this ceremony on Gotland takes place at the start of a new era for the military. 200 years after Sweden was last officially at war, this ceremony on Gotland takes place at the start of a new era for the military. As Sweden edges closer to NATO, combat readiness at home has really been higher up on the agenda.
We are absolutely on the right track. We are reorganizing the army. It is not that big at the moment, but its qualities are high, and with well-trained personnel and with a lot of NATO and international experience.
Sweden has stepped up its military exercise, but it has some catching up to do with fellow NATO applicant, Finland. William Agriel is a former soldier who has spent decades publishing work on security policy in the Nordics.
Around 2000, Sweden bought in on the idea that there wouldn't be any war in Europe anymore. So the territorial defense of Sweden could simply be scrapped. Finland never bought in on this. They remained in the territorial defense mode, and therefore they don't have to go back to that.
One part of the defense abandoned by Sweden was Gotland, the highland described as an unsinkable aircraft carrier due to its position in the Baltic. Its garrison was disbanded in 2005 before being reinstated 4 years ago.
Gotland is of great strategic importance due to the fact that Putin and Russia clearly shown that they are willing to use military force. It is important to have military presence and a good military capability on the island.
National conscription was also brought back in 2018. Strength and depth is where Sweden and Finland really differ. Finland's long-standing conscription policy means it can put hundreds of soldiers into the field that number somewhere between 30 and 60,000. Strength and depth is where Sweden and Finland really differ. Finland's long-standing conscription policy means it can put hundreds of soldiers into the field that number somewhere between 30 and 60,000 for Sweden. Sweden's Army, Air Force and Navy can punch above their weight. They have a technological edge helped by a multi-billion-dollar arms industry and an injection of cash as the military bids to double in size whatever their respective strength. It's still likely to be Sweden and Finland's geographical position that would benefit NATO if their application is eventually approved. Abigail Oyeyemi, Osrc News.
On sports tonight, the Nigeria Tennis Federation has commended Ondo State Sports Council for discovering talents at the grassroots. National tennis coach Ubani Mohammed made the remark during a tour of tennis facility at the Ondo State Sports Complex in Akure. He said tennis players from the state have always made the state proud, winning national tournaments and representing Nigeria in international competitions.
Ever since before, Ondo State has been producing a lot of players that made Nigeria proud. The likes of the present chairman, Steve Olagogi, Rolake Olagogi, name them, the Olagogis, they made Nigeria proud. And presently we have the even current Nigerian women champion.
Recently, Ondo State female tennis star Omolade Aderemi moved to the United States of America for more competitive action. And that's it on the news at 7. But before we go, let's take another look at the major stories. We told you that the plunder of Kuje Correctional Center, where 600 inmates bolted away, has justified the stance of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who has continued to push for creation of state police. We also told you that the Ondo State House of Assembly has confirmed the appointment of 2 commissioner nominees forwarded to the Huluk Chamber by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. Worried by the dwindling supply of power in the country, the federal government has tinkered with the structure of 5 electricity distribution companies to upscale their services. And from the foreign scene, we told you that Finland and Sweden have said they are close to sealing their pact with NATO. And that's it on the news tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Good evening.